I've covered so many scams, I've broken so many scams, ladies and gentlemen, but this is the scam of scams of Anil Ambani, and there are growing calls for his arrest. Why should a man who has done this allegedly not be arrested? There are some people who are asking, why should he be arrested? Ladies and gentlemen, why should he not be arrested? In a country where people are put in jail for stealing 500 rupees, why should Anil Ambani remain a free man? The Anil Ambani scam, a rotten scam. Ladies and gentlemen, a man whose companies were drowning in red flags, given such a long rope by the system. Was he not given a long rope by the system? Why should we blame Anil Ambani alone? Tonight, Republic will be laying bare the minutes of the lenders' meetings from way back in 2020, which totally expose Anil Ambani. But they also expose not just Anil Ambani, but the ecosystem around him, the rotten ecosystem, how warnings were ignored, audits were diluted, and accountability was deferred, all while thousands of crores of rupees were being siphoned off in plain sight. Who is responsible for this scam? Not just Anil Ambani, but also the forensic auditors who had already confirmed fund diversion, we know. The pattern was visible, the shell company is traceable, and yet not a single lender was declared a fraud. Instead, a panel of former judges and top legal officers conveniently opined that there was no wrongdoing which existed. The question is simple: was this negligence or deliberate protection for the powerful? Ladies and gentlemen, I have 8 questions tonight. 8 questions. 1. Why did the banks ignore the audit red flags? Forensic audit had clearly flagged fund diversion, circular transaction, and loans disbursed before sanction. Why did none of the lenders declare fraud? Despite acknowledging, quote, diversion of group companies was evident, unquote, in the minutes of the January 2020 meeting. As I am asking these questions, it is also very important for you to ask, should the so-called business newspapers of this country not be answerable to the people of India? What about the business journalists? Are they not embarrassed tonight? They were presenting Anil Ambani as some kind of a comeback man. Shame on them. Ladies and gentlemen, why were shell companies given crores in loans? How were companies with no employees, negative net worth, and common directors such as RPL Solar Power, Summit, Cheminfra, and WorldCom Solutions granted crores in corporate loans by Reliance Home Finance without due diligence or KYC verification? Where were the auditors and the raters? Fund diversion was going on, circular trading, intra-group transactions were going on. These were mounted between 2017 to 2019. What were the auditors and the rating agencies doing? Why was there no downgrade, adverse remark, or fund use, end use audit emerging until now? Viewers, there was a whole system around Anil Ambani. It's the stench of fraud and the misuse, ladies and gentlemen, of authority. Who protected Anil Ambani from a fraud tag? Despite forensic auditors confirming fund diversion and irregular lending patterns as early as 2020, Reliance Home Finance was not declared fraud for years. Which officials, institutions, or legal panels shielded Anil Ambani's group from that crucial tag, and why? How did public money land in China and the UK is another question I have asked. It was not just a violation of covenants, but this was a major red flag. Cross-border fund transfers were going on. The money was landing in China and the UK. I know there is a powerful circle of people who support Anil Ambani. To them, I would say tonight, think of what you have done. You are as responsible as this man yourself, ladies and gentlemen. I am not one who's going to spare any of these people tonight. Remember, viewers, there is the corporate media, and then there is Republic. The corporate media does not even ask questions to Air India after the crash. It's only Republic which will ask these questions. Viewers, why were loans disbursed before sanction date? Ask any banker if this can happen. In the minutes of the meeting in 2020, which I have, it was stated that the auditor reported instances where loans were disbursed by RHFURCFL prior to the sanction date. This was reported by the auditor. Difference between disbursement date and sanction date varied from 1 to 28 days. Why did the regulators stay silent for years? What are the regulators of this country worth? Nobody likes to ask these questions. Only Arnab will ask questions of the Supreme Court and the regulators. What were the regulators doing? Did the regulators not know of the malpractice, or was there a nudge, nudge, wink, wink? Finally, ladies and gentlemen, small farmers, middle class, loan app borrowers have been hounded to suicide for 12,000 rupee, 4 lakh rupee loans. This billionaire has an ecosystem of powerful regulators, bankers, raters, auditors, and politicians supporting him. It's the whole system which is rotten. And I'm saying so having been the same person who exposed people like him in many scams in 2010 to 2012. Leniency from the financial system, leniency from application of the rules of the financial system is also wrong, and the government must know the people are watching. The government of the day must know the people are watching. Justice must not just be seen to be done. Ladies and gentlemen, it must be done. If there is an attempt at making it seem that the government is being tough on Anil Ambani, then I'm sorry, it's not working. If the government, the agencies believe Anil Ambani has done this, then the central government must tell us why they are not arresting Anil Ambani. The central government must tell the people of India why they are not arresting Anil Ambani. Would the central government behave the same way with everybody else? And if an exception is being made, why so? The nation wants to know.